just about the only project I have left to do is to clean this bed here out. I still want to take some of the spinach out and take some of the chard out and try transplanting it over to the tube system and seeing what it'll do once I get it in that system. But right now the tube system's full. I came out earlier, I shot a video on breaking up the turnips and the mustard greens. Instead of thinning them out to 1 per cup, I went ahead and just removed everything from the cup, separated them and planted everything. It gave me, instead of 5 turnip, I got 11. And instead of 9 mustard, I got 20. So that's planted. The corn's coming up. Some of the peas are starting to come up. Some of the beans are starting to come up. So all I have to do to this bed is a little fertilizer every now and then and keep it watered. So that one's done. I still have to get some more soil in the potatoes to fill those buckets on up. Okay, let's see. I can get inside here. Now I found out something today. As you can see, most everything's gone from this tray now except for those few navy beans. This tray has drainage holes in the bottom. I put these in the wrong tray when I planted them, so they weren't draining. They were constantly too damp, overly moist. So the rest of the honeydew, the 2 that came up, kind of surprised me that they did, but they came up so quickly. I guess the excess moisture didn't affect them. The 5 watermelon came up. I was glad about that. But all of the cantaloupe seeds were waterlogged. The remaining honeydew were waterlogged. The lima bean I'd planted, all but 2 of them were rotting away. 2 of them came up, but I'm not sure that they're going to do anything. 1 of them might, the other one I doubt. The one chickpea that didn't come up was rotting. The other ones I planted. So it's been a busy day. I did the turnips and the mustard greens, and then I came out here, got the shovel. I weeded the onions, not with the shovel, but I did that while I was at it. But I came out here and I turned up this hill, planted 2 of the watermelon here. I worked some fertilizer and some stuff into that. I turned up this hill, planted 2 watermelon there. Same thing, worked some fertilizer and some other stuff into the soil while I was at it. Turned up this hill and planted the last watermelon here. So those should do fine. Then I came over here and planted several cantaloupe, just direct sow into the soil. Several cantaloupe. This stake marks the end of the cantaloupes because, like I said, I want to take the cantaloupes and kind of bring them around to the fence over here and let them climb the fence. So then I came over here. I planted the 2 honeydew that had come up, and then I planted some seeds directly in the soil in between those 2, so hopefully I'll get enough honeydew vines to do what I need to do. And then I planted the remainder of the radishes I had. After planting 42 of them in the grow bed, I brought the rest of them out here. It's going to be more than enough radishes. Normally I don't plant that many at a time. Normally I plant about 40 at a time, seed-wise, and then just go with what comes up. But so that got done. But then I came over, the stuff I had planted in rock wool cubes, I did several different things with. Primarily, I planted 3 of the cauliflower in one of the beds. Then I came over here, bypassed the 2 iceberg, planted the the last cauliflower here. I put all 4 of the broccoli in here. I put the 3 eggplant in here, and the last bell pepper is down towards the end of that row. So that's why the tube system is full, but most of this will be coming back out. The eggplant, the broccoli, the cauliflower will be coming back out of the tube system. The broccoli will probably be there the longest because it's going to be in there until this broccoli decides what it's going to do. If it's going to come up so I can harvest it, after I harvest the main heads and I'm just waiting on the side heads, I'll intersperse the other 4 broccoli in this bed, because by then the radishes that I've got scattered around in here will have been harvested. So I went ahead and planted the 2 pickling cucumber in this bed where they were supposed to be. Planted a lot of the radishes in this bed. I went ahead and trimmed these 2 standpipes the way I needed to adjust the water level in these 2 beds. This bed I planted a couple of the radishes in, and I planted the other 3 rockwool cubes that had bell pepper seeds in them. Now those seeds were starting to germinate. They just had like a little 1/8-inch rootlet sticking out. So once they start doing that, you pretty well know that they are going to go ahead and finish germinating, and you're going to wind up with a seedling. So all of them had more than 1 seed in them, so I took them, turned them upside down, and bumped them against my hand, dumped the seeds out into my hand, put 1 of them each back in the rockwool cubes, and then I came over here and I planted 4 of them in the soil. Now that will give me 4 bell pepper, hopefully, as long as they continue coming up. So if I wind up with any gaps of the ones that I sowed directly in the soil out here, I'll have something I can fill in the gaps in. And if not, if I don't need them, I'll pass them on to my brother-in-law, just like I will those navy beans that I probably don't need. So I guess that was doesn't seem like everything I did today, but it probably was. Oh, I planted the cubanelle out in the grape bed, or the raised bed where the grapes are, as I'd planned to, but I had to plant the banana peppers out there too because the wind kept kicking up at odd times today, and it blew the egg carton that I had those dirt plugs in, starting those seeds in, so I couldn't tell what was what anymore. So oops. And like I said, planted all the radishes. So basically everything that was in the egg trays is now planted somewhere, and almost everything that was in the soil has been planted. Some things are just getting started in soil again, but for the most part the gardening stuff is done. It's just a matter of maintenance and upkeep from here on out. And as I did most of the maintenance today on the system, as I was trimming these 2 standpipes, I went ahead and turned their gravel shields to cut any roots, which they didn't really have any roots in them, but I went ahead and spun them anyway. And I went ahead and spun all the rest of them to cut any roots. The only one that really had a lot of roots in it was this one with the butternut squash in it. So, but I got everything cleaned out. I got the standpipes adjusted, played with the water flow a little bit, but everything should be fine. And I decided I'm not going to play with these totes like a floating raft like I'd considered doing. So I tore that all apart, drained them out. One of them still has all the gravel in it, and the fill line is still here, but since it's got the ball valve in it, I was able just to shut it off. So I'll probably cut that off until I decide what to do. I'm still debating putting up more of the tube system, maybe along the figuring out a way to put it along the hoops of the greenhouse. So, but other than that, everything's looking good. Things are coming along, and hopefully the banana pepper will come up that I sowed directly in the soil out here, so I don't have to worry about the 3 that I had to put out there in the bed with the grapes, because I'm not going to be able to tell the difference between cubanelle and banana pepper, I guarantee. So, and I know I've been putting up a ton of videos lately. I've been trying to put up some of the old videos I'd shot that I never got around to posting, and I've been doing a lot of videos, basically been taking videos every day on the work that I've been doing, and I've been trying to get those posted. There are some that I just skipped and didn't post because they were redundant or contained no real information other than saying, hey, this is what I'm doing, which is pretty much what this one is. Hey, this is what I'm doing. But hopefully some of the stuff I'm doing can give people ideas, which is one of the reasons I do it. I'd never thought about using the egg cartons in the manner I use them now until I thought of it. Nobody told me about it, I just thought of it. I used to use the little dental cups that you get to use in your bathroom. They hold just a couple ounces or whatever. I used to use those as little pots. I'd take and poke a few holes in the bottom for drainage and use those as seed starting pots, and they work great. I still do it every now and then. So that's another good idea. And they're a lot cheaper than buying pots most of the time. I mean, you can go to the dollar store and get a package of 100 of them for $1 and you're set. 100 will carry you for a long way. And you can always clean them out and reuse them as well. So, and I glanced over here earlier, like that tomato's coming along there. I saw another one from the other end down there. Oh, right there across from it. So the tomatoes are still coming. Still got this one down here perking along. So I'm glad to see other ones coming in. So we're supposed to get some rain tomorrow. So rather than worrying about forgetting to water things, I need to remember to turn off the automatic sprinkler. And I think I kind of messed up because I tried to go ahead and transplant the squash that I had in the grow bed rebrooting. I tried to transplant it back to the outside, and I think it's just too early. I don't think they developed enough roots, so I doubt that they're going to make it. But I'll let them stay out here. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. And if not, I'll just go ahead and plant some more seeds. So I've got these 4 crookneck, and I don't care whether it's crookneck or the early prolific straight neck squash. I really don't. My wife likes the crookneck, so I went ahead and planted those 4, which is where these 2 came from. So if they don't survive, I'll just plant some more of the early prolific, or I'll plant some golden zucchini. I don't really care, because the squash, I'm going to be rotating it and continually replanting. When they stop producing, I'll pull them up and plant some more all summer long anyway. So there's another update, I guess you could call it. Like I said, the aquaponics system's all caught up. The fish are doing good. The stuff that was in the ground and what used to be the greenhouse is still doing great. I've got the leeks pretty much buried as far as I'm going to bury them now. The onions are doing really good still. I'm just fighting to restrain from starting in on the green onions. I'm sure there's a couple there I could go ahead and harvest, but I'm going to let them keep on going for a little while. The carrots are looking really good still. I did a little bit of weeding, but not much. I need to do a little more weeding around the carrots, I think. Did get the leeks and the onions pretty much weeded out. So hopefully that brings everything up to date, lets everybody know what I'm doing that's interested anyway, and we can just go from here. Other than I still need to put soil in the pots for the potatoes, because those were going to be bucket potatoes where you start the potatoes in the bottom, and as the plants grow you slowly fill the container with dirt until it's fully filled up. So last year something killed the top part of the plants. Apparently there were still some potatoes down there. I'd never bothered to harvest them, but now I've got potato plants coming up in all the containers. So I'm going to just start filling them with soil a couple inches at a time to allow the plants time to adjust to the new soil, so that I don't drown them out, and see what I get out of them this year, because I did harvest a couple last year and we had a good number of little potatoes in them. So and I'm not going to plant any potatoes in the ground other than the sweet potatoes.